Hi, this is Jose Hernandez, and this is the CSM Fitness USA channel where we discuss all things fitness equipment and fitness business related. I got a cool video for you today, so let's get into it. So as you all know, we do sell commercial gym equipment here at CSM Fitness, and I wanted to do a little experiment with buying a cheap Amazon $200 bench by a brand called Major and comparing it to one of our mid-tier benches. Mid-tier benches are anywhere between like $500 and $799. It's something that we typically sell. We like to have products at that price point because they tend to hold up for a longer period of time in the commercial atmosphere. And if you put it in your home, it'll last a lifetime. So, let's get into some of my thoughts as to what the major differences are. So, number one, the weight was obviously apparent when you basically open them up and go through the actual machines. One is absolutely probably twice the weight of the other one. Obviously, the commercial one being the one that's twice the weight. The bench that I have here for you guys today is a power string bench, multi-angle. It's about $600, I want to say. It is a very nice, heavy duty bench. I wanted to compare it to something that I wanted to totally be fair to the $200 bench, and I didn't want to put something in there that was like $1,200 or $1,000 because it just would be no contest. So that was one of the differences that I found right away, was just the weight. Another one of the differences that I found was that the hinges on the mechanisms are a little bit flimsier, obviously, on the cheaper bench. And I think as a long period of time will go, they'll kind of wear out, and eventually either I think you get to tighten those, and if you can't get to tighten them, they'll just be loose all the time. So it's one of those things where you got to kind of look out for when you spend that kind of money on a bench. As far as the other bench goes, it's heavy duty and it's all bolted. So if it ever loosens up, you just tighten it up and you're good to go. So realistically, the three biggest differences I see is price, weight, and durability. Price is what it is. Durability you would expect obviously from the more expensive bench, and the weight is what it is. If you want to lug around a heavy bench, or if you need a heavy bench because you're doing some heavy, you're lifting pretty heavy and you're an advanced lifter, obviously you want to go with the heavier duty bench, just because you're going to wear out the cheaper, less weighted bench. It just doesn't have the steel to support a lot of heavy lifting, if you ask me. I'm pretty sure if you wanted to do like a box squat on the bench on this Major one, to a certain point, I think that you will be fine. But once you get past a certain level, I think you're going to absolutely collapse it. So that's something to look out for. So another question I asked myself is who these benches are really for, who they were manufactured for. Obviously, the Major bench was made for a home. That's about as far as I would take it. I would never put this in a commercial place, in a personal training studio, anything like that. If you put it in there, it's kind of like you're gambling, and you're wasting your money twice, is what I like to say. It might last you for a while, but you're going to have to buy it again eventually. I see it happen all the time where, I see, gyms open up with this cheap, consumer grade stuff, put it in their clubs, put it in their personal training studios, and like a year later you see them on Facebook Marketplace trying to sell them because they're trying to buy a new bench. It's just not worth putting in a commercial atmosphere. Just spend an extra $400 and get yourself something that's going to hold up for a long period of time. Obviously, the more expensive bench could go into a gym. I would be more than fine with it. I would put it in a personal training studio. Anybody who's lifting really heavy at home, who's an advanced lifter, I think obviously should buy a bench like this, not go and spend a $200 bench. It's just not going to hold up. Now, one thing I did notice is that with both these machines, the upholstery is not really going to hold up for a long period of time. That's what tends to really wear on these, mid-tier benches, as far as like the $600 bench goes for. In a commercial atmosphere, you probably get a couple, maybe 3 years out of that upholstery before it starts to really fall apart, starts to get divots, it just starts to fall apart. If you compare that to like a hammer strength bench or something that's in the $1,200-$1,300 range, Nautilus benches that we sell, that upholstery will be good for years and years. I'm talking about years. Unless somebody pokes a hole into it, that upholstery will last you 10 years. I pick up old used equipment all the time. There's some back there. Where the upholstery's never been changed. It's 20, 30 years old and it still works and it's still fine. You know, it might be a little hardened from the time and from the sweat and everything, but at the end of the day, it will hold up. So that is really the biggest gap you're gonna see between some of the, you know, $600-700 benches to like the $1,200-1,300 benches. The quality is gonna be a whole lot greater as far as everything, but the upholstery is where it really sticks out at me. But if I were opening up a gym and I just needed some benches and I did not wanna spend that kind of money, absolutely, $600, call it a day. Down the line, do your upholstery again. You know, you might get 3, you might get 5, you might get 6 years out of it. I think that's a pretty good investment. I think that's definitely worthwhile. So this is not really a review. This is just me kind of experimenting with some of the cheaper stuff. In the future, what I am going to be doing in the near future, we're going to be buying a bunch of cheapo equipment and we're going to put it all together. We're going to make a gym and we're going to figure out what we could really get out of that gym before we need to kind of upgrade to some better stuff. I think it's a cool experiment we're going to do. Now, there is an affiliate link down below for the major bench. There is a link down below for the Power Stream bench as well if you want to take a look at it, as well as all the other stuff we sell in CSM Fitness. And yeah, so I got some other videos coming up and stay tuned and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.